Hello, it's another weekend, which means another weekend of glorious sport. But this time, I'm not going far afield. I've gone to Winchester, which is about 1.5 hours outside of London, for the Winchester Fives Nationals. Now, what's that? Well, Winchester Fives, well, fives, Winchester's a place. Fives is a sport where you hit a ball against the wall with your hand. It is the English version of handball. There are several different types. There's rugby fives, there's Eton fives, we'll do videos on those, but this is Winchester Fives. Played here at Winchester College. It is the smallest version of fives in terms of numbers of people who play and number of courts, but in my opinion, it's the best. And this is the Nationals, this is the biggest event of the year. Let's check it out. So I'm joined now by the organiser, Harry Ackerman, who has had a very bad Winchester Fives related injury, so we can't play, but he's going to tell us a little bit about what this sport is. So Harry, hello.
Hello Dan, hi. So this is the Barnes Bridge, which is the sort of national Winchester Fives Championship, which we play once a year, and we rotate around a number of different schools, Winchester, Malvern, Bradfield and Sedbergh. And this year for the first time we're playing the amazing new Winchester College Sports Centre. We've got 4 Winchester Fives courts here, 2 Rugby Fives courts, so yeah, it's a celebration of Winchester Fives.
Okay, great. So we haven't done much videos on fives yet, but basically it's a bit like squash. There's a line to hit above here, and it's got to land in the court, and then it bounces once around here. They hit the walls. But Harry, what makes Winchester Fives different from the normal fives?
Yeah, so Rugby Fives, which is a more common game, has 4 straight walls, so it's like a sort of slightly smaller squash court. But Winchester Fives over here, we've got this buttress.
I think that this is the best version of fives.
Yeah.
But why do you think it's the best version of fives?
I'm very biased, but I agree, it's definitely the best version of fives. I find doubles in Rugby Fives courts where you've got 4 good players playing, it can get a bit tedious, the rallies get a bit sort of long and boring and stuff. But here, when you've got 4 guys who know how to play the buttress, it's really exciting because the front and back of the game, the court's in game all the time, and people running about all over the place.
What do you think of Winchester Fives, Jules?
Brilliant game, brilliant doubles, what a day.
Better than Rugby Fives?
I hate to admit it.
But yeah. Oh, good shot. Okay, so Winchester Fives, like Harry said, this is the ball. So it's like a little baseball. It's really hard, but you wear these padded gloves and you hit it. And you get it against the wall. Listen to the noise it makes. It's great. Oh. Here it's cracking. It's a bit like the Bass Pilota versions where it's like a hard ball as well. But what makes it different, follow me over here tonight, is you get into the buttress, like if it comes up, I don't know if you can see it on the wall, but it kind of comes back and then it kind of cuts across here. So that bit there, that's what you're trying to hit. And if the ball hits this, it shoots off that way. which means that if you're playing doubles, the person on this side of the court needs to cover the back and also the front. They've got to run forward whenever it hits that. It's a really exciting version of the game. It's really fun. You'll see some top players doing it right now, which might include me. I don't know, but hey, keep watching. Okay, I've come outside for a little bit of peace and quiet because one of the problems with filming handball sports is that it's really loud on the courts and very echoey and not very good for audio. So let's film here in this nice quiet space next to the sports hall. Winchester Fives, as I say, is really good, and this is the trophy that everyone's playing for. It also happens to be, in my opinion, one of the best sports trophies you can get. Check this out, it's beautiful. So, it is the Barnes Bridge Winchester Fives Doubles Trophy. There's the bridge in appreciation of David Barnes' outstanding contribution to fives from two friends in 1982. Who's David Barnes? Well, let's find David Barnes in a minute. So I'm going back into the courts to find David Barnes. David Barnes, don't tell him this, but he's actually one of my favourite people in the world of fives. I've known him since I was but a little person at school when he used to come and watch. He has called me on many occasions a disgrace, and I think that's why I like him so much. Let's find him.
Alright, put your names on that.
And why do you enjoy Winchester Fives? Is it for you the best version of fives?
No, it's the best doubles version of fives.
Yeah.
I mean, fives originally, I think I'm right in saying this, although Kavanagh was probably an exception. I think fives was a doubles game. Fives is naturally a doubles game. Eton Fives is a doubles game only. Rugby Fives is a singles or doubles game, which actually probably is an advantage for that particular code. Winchester Fives is a doubles game. Singles doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I think the history of the game starts in the 1860s at Winchester.
Yeah.
And it's now come back to Winchester with 4 Winchester Fives courts and 2 Rugby Fives courts, which curiously enough is the same mixture as they had in the 1862 courts at Winchester.
Really?
They had 2 Rugby Fives courts and 2 Winchester Fives courts.
Oh wow, how about that?
Well, it's unusual.
No, and David, you're the archivist for fives as well.
Yes, I've been trying to hand it over for some time, but nobody seems interested.
When did fives start? Do you know?
That's a very difficult question to answer because fives was a country game in the 18th century, 19th century, played in churchyards in Wales, played in the West Country, played in pubs or outside pubs, which still have some walls standing. So that was fives probably of a very rudimentary nature. So really hand fives really started in the 1860s, and it's been going ever since, but only at schools which were wise enough to build fives courts. So Winchester Fives rules were published in the 1890s by the college, circulated to anybody who was interested, and the result was pretty good chaos. In other words, the schools said, why do I have to have all these rules? Why don't we invent our own rules? So there were rules at Radley and rules at Malvern and rules at Rugby and rules at... They were all broadly the same because when you make up rules for a ball game, you start with the court and you describe it and you say what's going on and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. For example, at Winchester College, kicking the ball was not allowed. Now that's in the first rules of Winchester. What do I remember? I remember probably the most outstanding player I've ever seen play was Wayne Enstone, who won lots and lots of singles competitions, some of which I saw the final of. And not only did he play very, very well, he was extremely fit. He was a sports coach anyway, and so he got extraordinarily fit. Most of the people who played in the finals of these competitions were professional men who played fives by and large for fun in the evenings when they could fit them in, or at a weekend if there was a competition. They were very good players, probably just as skillful as Wayne, but half as fit, or in some cases about a tenth as fit. So they could last one game. The second game, they lost. The third game, there was no point in playing it, really.
Do you think that Wayne Enstone would have demolished people like Dan Tristow?
No.
No.
No, I think Tristow and his coevals, if they were as fit as Wayne, they would give him a wonderful game, which would be worth watching 10 times over.
But yeah, Winchester Fives for me, well, Rugby Fives and Winchester Fives, both very, very similar sports, apart from the buttress over there. But I've obviously done a lot of handball sports around the world now. Like, you've seen stuff on the channel. There's probably stuff that I haven't even released yet that I filmed last year. There's loads of them. And I have to say, after playing all of them so far, Rugby Fives, Winchester Fives, they are the best versions of the sport for people with my sensibility. So I'm not super, super, super powerful like the Basque. I mean, I can hit it pretty hard, but the guys in Mexico and the Basque country that can hit this ball down like a 55-meter front on, like that's next level. And I can't do that. That's straight arm, like boosh, that they do. So, you know, those power games, I'm not a massive fan of them. They're quite fun to play a little bit, but not a massive fan. I do like these court games, and you know, fives it's so fast, it's so ambidextrous. You really do need to have a good right hand and a good left hand, and like, you know, the camaraderie, the fact it's self-refereed. There's all this stuff that makes it really nice. And I just don't think there's other sports in the world that are quite like it. You know, the balls, the glove, that cracking noise it makes, like when you hit it just right. And in Winchester, when you get it into the buttress, oh, it's amazing. So yeah, my thoughts on Winchester Fives and Rugby Fives, which we will cover in more detail at some point, are, for me, the best versions of handball for a handball player. You know, you've got to be fit, you've got to be ambidextrous, you've got to have skill. And you've got to have really good teamwork and really good integrity as well. So there you go. Those are my views. And now let's get back to the sport. Well, that's the end of the Winchester Nationals. David wants to redo his interview at some point, so bye, David. Dan,
yes,
has just played the final with me, and we've won. Well played, Dan. How was it? How was it?
It was good. It's very, very good fun to play, and lovely to play on these brand new courts.
Do you like this sport? Winchester Fives?
Yes, I would say that I prefer it to Rugby Fives doubles, not singles, but Rugby Fives doubles. Wish we had more of these around the country.
Indeed, yeah. So we just played the final. I'll probably throw in a shot of me hitting the winning shot. Right about now, though, it's a bit of an anticlimax. The rest of the game was much better. But yes, this is Winchester Fives. Beautiful courts here at Winchester College. There's a buttress there, and that makes it all the more interesting. It is the best version of Fives doubles. Prove me wrong, Rugby Fives. Prove me wrong, Eton Fives. Let's do a video on your courts as well. Take care. Bye-bye. Cool. Well, thanks very much, David, and for everything you've done for the game. Because my final question for you, if you could sum it all up in one word about how Fives makes you feel, or something like that, what would you say? One word.
Well, when I was a teacher, it was one of the great ways of relaxing that one could have, because when you're on court, you forget everything else, basically.
Yeah.
I think I'd say that the feeling you have after coming off court is fulfilled in some way.
Lovely. Thanks, David.